welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you're a current subscriber. Someone asked me to do this video about Julia Zelg's divorce update video, and I want to put this little disclaimer here. Lots of disclaimers, I'm sorry about that, but I'm not trying to be insensitive in this video. I hope it does not at all come off that way. Julia Zelg going through a divorce, I'm sure it was rough in a way. She's having to grieve a life that she thought she would have and let go of a lot of things, and there's some grief that comes with that. I am happy, that's my opinion, happy that they are divorcing. Not happy like overjoyed, but I guess glad is a better word. Glad that they're divorcing, and I just want to go over a few things.
Some of your divorce related questions. It's very sad, but it's real life, and I'd rather talk about real life than be here just posting happy things and giving the impression that my life is perfect instead of talking about what I'm actually going through, because everybody's going through something, right? So grab your popcorn, grab your drinks. I have some Diet Fanta. So before we get chatting, please subscribe and activate the notifications. Please follow me on TikTok and Instagram for daily vlogs and give us a thumbs up because it really helps the channel. Anyway, I don't really know how to start this video.
I feel that in a lot of her videos, she has this baseline behavior of kind of sitting still, and you see that here, but I also have this feeling, this is just an opinion here in this particular part, that she is trying to act sad, and that's a bit toxic, but I also understand so much of this has been for views, and that has been proven. But really I want to talk more about how some of this video changes and shifts from her baseline behaviors, how she typically speaks, and just go over that a bit.
Because it's such a weird topic and it's so sensitive and sad. So I'm just gonna start with some of the things that I wrote down that you have been asking me. So the first thing is, how have the two of you been feeling lately? Obviously this is not the happiest we've been, that goes without saying, right? I don't think anybody's like jumping for joy when they're getting divorced. So obviously it's tough, but I think considering we are doing all right, and in some ways it's a little bit of a...
I do want to note here she blinks a lot as if she's flipping through what she's going to say next and what her next narrative will be. And that's a bit odd. That's not typical for her or really anyone.
A relief, like in some ways I feel better, because I have been going back and forth thinking about this for a long time. Like, should I get divorced? Should I not? Should I try harder, or should I just let this go? And I've been stuck in my head like this for so long, like wondering if...
I've discussed temple touching and touching the face behaviors before, and how that could be an indication of deception because the face warms up when you lie. In this case though, she was talking about going back in her head, going back and forth, and all of those movements with her words match, and I don't think that that is an indication of deception in itself.
If I should move forward or not. And that was so damaging in so many ways, like to myself and to Eileen. It's like I was stuck in limbo for so long, and now in hindsight, knowing what I know, I should have made this decision ages ago. I think it would have saved a lot of heartache. But
so the interesting part about all of this is then she starts to get a little more active in her movements and her facial expressions. She's doing a lot of touching. There's a lot of anxiety and distress in this, and it could be just because it is a divorce update, and divorce is never a happy, fun, great moment, and it is probably causing her a lot of anxiety to have to go through that for several reasons. Also, though, she has been online talking for most of her videos about how happy and fun her and Eileen's life is together. So it's interesting now that story has shifted into this being a bit of relief that she should have done this ages ago. And even though she's moving her hands all over the place, which could be an indication of distress because she's being deceptive, I think in that particular part where she says this should have happened ages ago, she is being honest.
Everybody is wise in hindsight, right? In that sense, although it's obviously really sad, it's a bit of a relief to at least, like, I know what I'm doing, right? Like, at least I made a decision and that's not killing me inside anymore. At least I know that, you know, that's sad, but it happened and now I just have to heal. And I know what I'm healing.
She moves and talks a lot with her hands, but it's really when she starts to get really frantic looking that she seems to be more deceptive, more in distress, and more unfocused on what she's trying to tell her audience, which is ironically not what you see here, because she is telling the truth in this part. And you see her sit a little more still. She'll move her hands a little bit, but not nearly as much as I've noticed she does when she is being deceptive.
Especially after having thought about it for so long, I make it for life. So yeah, we're never getting back together. Like that Taylor Swift song. We've forgiven each other for all the pain we've caused each other, and that's great, but not enough to get back together, I think, because we know too much about each other, and I know that I don't want to be put through certain situations again, like ever again in my life by anyone. So yeah.
It's interesting when she says, I would never want to be put through certain situations again in my life. She does all these touching, shifting her mouth, and all these indications of deception, though someone normally wouldn't be deceptive about that particular part. We know, however, that a lot of what she has done has been for views, and therefore those situations, a lot of them weren't necessarily real situations. They were really for film, for a production company, and that has been proven over on a subreddit, and someone sent me some information about that. But I believe that part, she is being deceptive for that reason.
As much as we have so much love for each other, I also cannot let my life be completely like ruined by it, you know. So that's why I'm really hoping that being friends is gonna be the perfect solution, because we'll still have each other in our lives, but I'm not gonna be like legally impacted by her choices, you know. Oh, it's so sad that the world works like this, because when I was younger and when I first got married, I always thought that love was all that mattered, right? If you love this person and this person loves you, that's it. There are not going to be any problems. You're going to be together forever. That's probably a bit naive, but that's how I thought. And obviously, that's not how it works. Sometimes there are other things that are very important and get in the way. Have you filed for a divorce?
I believe in just that small segment, she's talking about how as a child she believed marriage would just be about love for her, but since so much of this particular marriage has been about views and what's needed for a production company, allegedly, she's implying that this particular marriage hasn't been just about love, and that has really strained things. I believe that she's actually being very genuine in this part, because she sits very still and she's not quite giving us the direct truth. She's not directly telling us this was all just for views, but she is, for the most part, being honest about how love wasn't all there was to this, and there were other factors and things that contributed to the relationship ending, as well as the fact that she doesn't say anything about how she's going to particularly miss Eileen, what she loves about Eileen, what she's moving on from. She doesn't directly tell us that part. She never mentions that in any of this, that there are parts of Eileen that she's going to miss, that she did love, and so that's very interesting to note here.
Yet, how long does it take, and other questions about like the specifics of actually getting divorced on paper. As of today, we haven't filed yet. I'm just waiting to hear back from my lawyer, but probably when you watch this video we will have filed. I'll keep you updated anyway. So we haven't yet, but we will very soon. And the way it works, at least here in the UK, because that's where we're mostly based, and that's where we got married, so we're getting divorced here in the UK. You can file for divorce online, which is a little bit mind-blowing, isn't it? Like, it sounds a little bit cold. Like, I thought you would have to go to a room together and like cry, and no, you can file for divorce online, and basically one person has to file. And
she adds in this part that they were married in a specific country, which normally if you're discussing your divorce from someone, you don't really add that little tidbit in. Usually that could be an indication of deception For this, it just adds to the fact that this marriage really wasn't full of love and these two really were not meant for each other. She's adding in this additional detail that's just extraneous. It's not really a genuine part of the story. Normally someone would say, we got married and it didn't work out. They wouldn't add in, we got married in this particular country and so we're having to do things this way in this particular country. Now it could be because Julia is from Brazil originally and then moved to the UK, and so she wasn't sure up to this point what the rules of divorce would be, but I would also assume she didn't know what the rules of divorce would be in Brazil either.
The other has to accept it like via email. Crazy, isn't it? I don't know what it's like in other countries, but that's actually good because I think it saves a lot of heartache. And it takes like just under a year. It's a long time, isn't it? I didn't know any of this before, but there's a bit of like a waiting period in case anyone changes their mind. So you like file and then you have to wait and then you do something else again. I don't know exactly in details. I started looking at it, but I don't know exactly step by step, but it takes a while. Oh, okay. Now this one, I wrote it down just to clear up the rumors, but it's not a serious question. It's more like a hate comment. And someone said, did you leave Eileen because you got your citizenship? Now, this has been a rumor that has started since even before we got...
Overall, this entire video has been her giving us this update on what the rules and the process is for divorcing someone in the United Kingdom. She says the words, this has been a relief. She says the word heartbreak, but she doesn't say she is going through heartbreak. So a few things to note there. She doesn't seem in love with and sad to be away from Eileen in particular. This entire video is not her saying, I'm so heartbroken, I'm getting divorced, I'm sad, these are the things I'm going to miss, I'm moving on. No, instead she's telling us what the paperwork process is for divorce in this particular country and walks us through how it could be different in other countries, and then addresses this rumor at the end here about citizenship.
Got married just because we have an age difference and I'm from Brazil and she's American. So let me tell you in detail what the situation is with that. Do you know how many visas / green cards / citizenships I got because of my marriage? 0. Yeah, I am actually a triple citizen. That's like being a dual citizen but with 3 citizenships instead of 2, and none of them have anything to do with Eileen. My first one is Brazilian, and that's because I was born in Brazil. My second one is Portuguese, and that's because my dad's side of the family was Portuguese. So before I even moved to the UK, I got my Portuguese passport, and that...
Something else I've noticed about Julia, and this is really not much of a behavior analysis. I haven't done a lot of looking at her body language in this and noting that as much as I've really noted her words in this, because she sat still for the most part, and that's usually not one of her tells. I believe that's more aligned with her baseline behaviors, and she's also being very condescending at the end here. The way she explains, I have triple citizenship, that's 3, you know? She doesn't say exactly like that, but it comes out like that when she explains what triple means, as if we as her audience do not know what triple means. Triple citizenship, and we can't figure that information out ourselves. I felt that was pretty toxic of her and condescending, though she may not have meant it that way. It came off that way here at the end. She's of course addressing this hate rumor, but I'm not sure that she's aware of who her audience really is at this point. And that comes out when she talks to people explaining triple citizenship. So just something I noted there.
That's how I moved to the UK in the first place, because before Brexit, people from the European Union could live in the UK. And after so many years of living in the UK, you are allowed to apply for British citizenship. So that's what I did about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I think I applied 3 years ago and got it 2 years ago. So I've also got a British passport. And for America, I actually don't have a green card. What I have is a work visa, which is just fine for me because I move back and forth between the UK and the US.
As I said, so much of this video has been her sitting still, giving us the process of divorce and the difference in countries and their rules, and just talking about very unrelated things to this divorce. So this really wasn't a divorce update at all. I do think there were parts in this she was not being deceptive at all, but she was implying that there were other factors that were not love in this relationship. And noting how she words things and how she doesn't go into detail about what she would miss about Eileen, what she loves about Eileen. And in fact, I haven't seen a video so far where she does list the things that she loves about Eileen, and that is very fascinating to me. Of course, a lot of people already know that the marriage was mostly bringing her views. I do notice how much she blinks rapidly, as if she's not sure what to say next. That is not her baseline behavior. And the small part where she starts to move around a little more. The other movements, I do believe, is her really emphasizing this is what I mean and this is what I say, and I mean it when I say it. Aside from that, though, I'm going to end this here. There wasn't a whole lot to point out aside from the overall message that she was not actually in love with Eileen. I'm going to say allegedly, but there's no details about what she would miss about Eileen, what she really is moving on from. This is more an informative video about how to divorce in the United Kingdom. Thank you for watching. If you've watched this far, please like, please subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you.